Hello. Today we will be talking about the methods and procedure of Jigsaw. Why was Jigsaw developed? Objective of Jigsaw. Original group structure. Expert group structure. Return to the original group and teaching. Benefits of Jigsaw. Why was Jigsaw developed? To make classes less competitive and more cooperative, to increase self-esteem and performance and reduce prejudice. Following desegregation, they expected that a lot of these problems with self-esteem and performance would just take care of themselves because the students were now going to school together. The problem was many of these prejudices still existed. Many of the teachers were still prejudiced. Many of the staff members were still prejudiced. And many of the students just hadn't come to grips with desegregation. Because of this, African American students many times found themselves at a disadvantage. So Jigsaw was developed to increase their self-esteem and performance and reduce prejudice in not only the African American students, but also the white students. Objective of Jigsaw. For every student to learn about a given text without having to read the entire passage. To put students in a situation where they need each other to learn. The second bullet point, to put students in a situation where they need each other to learn, is probably the most important thing on this slide because of that cooperative element. That's where they really felt like they could break down the fault lines that existed between white students and African American students. Original group structure. Divide up all of the students in the class to make equal size groups. The size of the group depends on how many portions the instructor divides the text into. For example, if a passage had 6 paragraphs and 30 students in the class, there would be 5 groups of 6 students. The instructor would assign each student from the group a different paragraph to study. Then the instructor will give every student time to read and study their portion of the text. So every person in a group would be responsible for one of those 6 parts. Now, this is an example. It could be any sized text, and it could be just divided however the instructor saw fit. But in this situation, 6 paragraphs, and 1 student per group was responsible for a paragraph. And in this original group structure, each student is given an amount of time to study and familiarize themselves as much as possible with that paragraph. Expert group structure. All the students from the different groups who are assigned the same portion of the text to study get together and collaborate in an expert group. Remember from the previous slide that there were 5 groups of 6 students. In this situation, there would be 5 members of the expert group. So there'd be 5 members of the expert group and 6 groups. Essentially 1 expert group responsible for each portion of the text. All of the students from the expert group will speak and share with each other the information that they have obtained from the text, making sure that all of the necessary information is accounted for. So they could be coming from different perspectives. Somebody could have overlooked something. There could be a different take on certain things. So this expert group is conferring and trying to get everybody's viewpoint and collaborate and make sure that they understand it from all different angles. And they're going to do that within a given time. So once the time given by the instructor for the expert group expires, each student will rejoin their original group. So that time can be whatever amount of time the instructor sees fit. Return to the original group and teaching. After the expert groups have conferred, each expert returns to their original group to teach the other members of the group their portion of the text. Each group member has to do a good job with teaching each other the content of the text. They will be responsible to know all of the material for the test that follows. So you have 6 different groups and one representative of each original group learning a portion of the text, and now they've collaborated with the other experts in the other group, and they're now responsible to make sure to teach the other 5 members of their original group their portion of the text, and then they'll get their group members information in return. So now they're kind of putting it all together. They're now trying to get a grasp on the whole concept as opposed to just their little part. And on the second bullet point, it says responsible to know all the material for the test that follows. There'd usually be a test on the entire curriculum. So now you can see where that cooperative part, that cooperative element comes in, because they're heavily leaning on each other for that information. Benefits of Jigsaw. Students build relationships by working together to obtain knowledge. Students rely on each other for knowledge as opposed to competing for the teacher's approval. Students participating in the Jigsaw classroom have more increased self-esteem than the students participating in traditional classrooms. Using the Jigsaw technique, students realize that the competitive behavior that perpetuated prejudice is no longer appropriate. Students learn to listen, ask questions, and find other ways to contribute to their group. Thank you.